I get this question all the time, and to be honest with you, it usually comes in the form of an accusation, and it kind of ticks me off. All right, y'all, here it is, the question and answer video. I haven't done one of these in years. Used to do them every once in a while, but I said on a few videos ago, ask me anything you want, no matter what the question is, and I'll pick a bunch of them and answer them up for you. Some of these questions came from the Commonwealth Picker channel. Some of them came from this channel, the Commonwealth Flipper channel, and a couple I pulled off of emails, so hopefully we can get through a bunch. I do have to ship a few things today, so I'm going to pull an item, do a question and answer, pull an item, do a question and answer. I hope you guys enjoy it, and thanks for leaving the questions. Let's get to it. I have been waiting for this lot to sell. If you remember, we bought this down there with mail back from Burnout down at FlipCon and a whole host of other folks, and that thing finally sold. We took off one piece of it, sold it separately for $25, I believe. We paid $20 for all of it, and this one sold. Oh, hey, look, it sold with a different item too, a Maxell case. See if I can find the right one. We have a few of these. These are really slow sellers. I really don't suggest people picking them up unless you don't mind holding on to them for a long time. And of course, I can't find the right one. It's gotta be in here. That's it right there. That Maxell case. I just like them. They remind me of my childhood, so I pick them up. Those two right there, $78.95. And they sold to Miriam, a longtime viewer. Thank you, Miriam. I hope you enjoy them. Hey, y'all, I know some of y'all asked about this. We're down at the Webster. You're gonna see this much later on the Commonwealth Picker channel, but I wanted to show you in here real quick. So this is our second show we've done on the road, where we've done a bunch of shipping. We've got the printing and all the supplies over here. Mike's shipping right here. Hey, Mike, turn around. Shout out Death Pile Picker for helping make this happen. We haven't got it quite the way we wanted to. It's not bad though.
No,
it was pretty warm in here last night. Not too bad for me because the heater was over here. You were over here. Really, really nice setup. Thank you to Rollo for giving us those, the Rollo printer and the Rollo scale over there. And there's always a link below. My go-to tape, Joel at American Bubble Boy. Thank you to him as well. Code Commonwealth, 5% off my go-to tape. And to my reseller, Genie, for helping this happen. But this thing's gonna get a new wrap soon. It's gonna have everything all over it in a wrap. American Bubble Boy and everybody else. So thank you again to Joel. And we're excited about getting off out on the road and making this happen. And we're shipping from right here, right after we sold a bunch of stuff, taking a ton of stuff home for eBay. My truck is jammed full, so thank y'all. We appreciate it. Sold this Coach laptop bag. It's not a bad little sale right here. That one sold for $69.95 plus shipping. Hey y'all, I am actually headed home. I'm going to answer some of these questions while I'm on the road, so when I get home I don't work a bunch and my wife yells at me. So headed home from the Trash to Cash Winter Bash. Question from Sticky Woody's Wall Art. That's an interesting name. He says, what do you think about free shipping across the board? So I guess I'd say this. I'm going to get over real quick. You know, they didn't ask free shipping versus calculated shipping versus like flat rate shipping, which is what I do on most of my items now. I used to do almost predominantly calculated shipping and throw in some free shipping, but now I've switched it to basically mostly flat rate shipping. So I guess I'd say this. You know, if I sell something for $20 and $9.95 shipping, it's really no different than somebody doing $29.95 free shipping. So, you know, I don't think it's that big of a deal. There's a couple little issues that change it a little bit. The plus for doing free shipping is that you're going to find people, some people, very few, but some people who are going to search for items using free shipping. eBay might give those a boost, and certainly in the search they're going to give them a boost if that's what you're filtering to, so there's a benefit. The negative, in my opinion, for this is probably that you're going to have some items going to get returned, and if you have items that are getting returned, you can reduce the return that you give them depending on how they return it by the amount of the original shipping. So that's something that I do from time to time, and I think that that is beneficial, and you're probably going to reduce your returns by a little bit, or at least pocket some of the expense that you had with the return if you do it that way. If I was forced to make a decision between calculated shipping and free shipping, I think I would take free shipping. I know that doesn't make a lot of people very happy, but the more you do this, the more you can kind of gauge what it's going to take in order to ship something, and the high side versus the low side. And I still do some items calculated shipping. The very, very large items I'll do calculated. It reduces my chances of selling it, but it also reduces my risk. These two Telescene players both sold to the same person, and we sold them on auction. We could have probably got $250 each for these, but they were hanging around a long time. So we decided to put them on an auction because we're trying to get everything gone by the end of February, and they went for $253.60 plus shipping, and I'm happy they're gone because we have nothing into them at this point. They came from the $10,000 yard sale, and we are way in the profit. So this is all profit right here. I got a question from Old Guy's Shoes. He says, do you think that in a saturated market, in this case he's talking about shoes, but he said any niche, that the race to the bottom sellers dictate the price of shoes? And he says, and what do you think that sellers can do to combat it, like collectively join together and combat it? So this is a kind of question that would come up all the time in my history class when we talk about economics, but I don't know if my answer is going to make you too terribly happy, to be perfectly honest with you. There are going to be, I think he calls them flyby sellers or something. There's going to be people out there that are just interested in selling things. They're not resellers. They just want to get stuff sold, and they go on different platforms and sell. They don't even care. They don't even know what they're doing. They're not even looking up what things they're selling for. They're just putting a price on it, not even looking up comps. So, you know what? I'm going to tell you this, like I said, you might not like it. You know, if you are going to join together in these groups to try to affect the market, you know, we call them cartels, you know, and different stuff like that. But I think the market dictates the price, and part of the market is going to be those sellers. And so that's going to be the case. I think the best we can do is find good items, take good pictures, put good titles on them, and let the market dictate the price, and kind of shift towards the places in the market where you're making the most amount of money. Picked up this 1927 Navy Blue Jackets manual down in Florida. Dave pointed me towards a table because he thought I might like a couple things over there, but this one caught my eye on the side of the table, and I grabbed it super cheap. It sold for $100 plus shipping. I have a question from Larry the Mailman. He asked if I've ever bought in bulk, like from a wholesaler, if I've ever done that, and he talked a little bit about his personal experience. So basically, no, I've bought pretty low scale bulk kind of buyouts and stuff like that, but not something from a wholesaler in massive quantities on a regular basis. Never ever done that. It's really not what drives me. It's not fun to me. I'm not passionate about it. Plus, I'd have to take away from what I am passionate about, which is going to garage sales, in order to do it, and it would take away from other parts of my business. So I haven't done it. There's certainly a lot of money to be made. The margins are usually far smaller that way, and you can create systems that will make it work in the long run. You're bringing in a higher amount of gross, less amount of margin, but your profit is still better. It's not something I've ever really done or really would want to do. However, if I was presented with something that was too hard to pass up, I definitely would do it. There's some downsides to it as well. I've known people who have done this and bought massive quantities from wholesalers who are literally selling stuff out, not a returning kind of inventory, and the market shifts on something and they're left holding the bag. So there's one downside to it. Sold one of these Filson hats, finally got those listed. This one was the lowest dollar one we had listed because it has a couple of issues, like you can see right there, and there's no size tag in it. And the other one, see, it needed cleaned. We didn't even clean it. And it sold for $34.95. The other ones we have listed for a little bit more, and I think they'll go for it. Not that little sale. I think we paid $5, 5 into 35 plus shipping. I have a question from Loretta Caputo. She says, do you use pirate ship? And if not, why not? Or if you do, why? Something like that, I can't remember. And the answer is yes, I do use pirate ship. I use it exclusively, and Reagan uses it when we're doing CommonwealthPicker.com merch. Always use pirate ship. I use it personally if I'm sending items to people I know, Christmas gifts or whatever, all the time. I'm never gonna pay post office retail prices again, ever. So if you're out there listening to this, you can get on there and use pirate ship, even if you're not connected to any of these platforms as a reseller, and you'll save money. I use it more and more. Every once in a while on eBay, I'll go on there and do it. The ease of shipping, though, for whatever benefit you can get, I usually don't. I wish I could use it on Whatnot, and that's one thing I just absolutely hate about it. And you're not going to make money on shipping over there. You're going to lose money and oversized stuff, and the bundling is all wonky and all that. So I don't use it. It's one thing I do like about District and our dibdit.com store over there, because you can control the shipping, you can bundle it, you can figure out what your discount rate's going to be for a second or third item bought. There's all kinds of different things you can do over there that you can't do on Whatnot, that are the kind of hidden fees in Whatnot that I don't like about it. There's a lot of benefits, don't get me wrong, but so I use it almost exclusively when I sell stuff on dibdit.com as well. But hopefully that answers your question. Figured I'd show you that tag. If you ever see it out there, pick those up. Little wool on the interior. They're really good hats to sell. Got a question from 69 Fred Wilson, which is a strange name until I read the question. How do you get into swinging, was the question. I'm very happy to report to you that I am not a swinger, that it was a complete fabrication that I finally got Dave and Carrie to admit on the last Trash to Cash podcast. But as I was headed home today, look what I found on my car. Scoundrels. Sold another pack of Mustang cards, 50 years of Mustang playing cards with a pin, $14.95. I'll shoot. Got a question from Kelly. She says, why do you call your viewer sales fake sales? And I could talk about this forever, but I've kind of hashed it out a few times in the past already, so I won't. You know, she talks about 20%, and that's the number that seems to be pretty steady. A lot of sales come over from the Facebook page as well. And some days it might be as high as 50%. As a matter of fact, I've been away, so the store was shut down for a few days, and when that happens, it's, you know, a lot of people want this stuff then, but viewers will buy a lot more. The percentage will be higher when the store is shut down because they're following the store. I guess the reason why I do it is, I don't know, it's just something that one way to deal with the criticism, because if truth be told, I don't like that criticism very much. It kind of offends me because I've been doing it for 22 years. I don't buy things just to sell them to viewers. I shouldn't say never. There are a few items that I've bought that's like, viewers might buy that. But for the most part, I'm buying items that traditionally sell on eBay, and that's all I'm picking up. So I call them fake because it's a way of embracing the criticism with a laugh, as opposed to being defensive about it all the time. And it's just something I've kind of always done. So no offense, we always appreciate the viewer sales, but I also want to point them out. I'm not gonna say, if I know something's a viewer sale, I'm gonna say it's a viewer sale, because I'm trying to be transparent about it. So Kelly, thank you for the question and for the kind words. Sold a red XL vintage Dale shirt. This one is a double stitcher, and it has a back hit as well. Pretty nice shirt in excellent condition, $20 plus shipping. Question from John Mohai. I think that's how you pronounce it, John, sorry. He says, are you ever tempted to follow ADH Dave and Philly Flipper to Florida? And so I'm gonna say no. There are two factors though, if you ever see me show up in Florida for good, that might lead me to do it. One is the absolute unbelievable availability of sourcing. There is picking every day. You literally can go to a different flea market every day. There are tons of places to source down there. The thrift stores aren't great, but there are some that are really, really good. They also have bins and all kinds of stuff. The sourcing has been terrific both times I've been down there to source. So that's one reason, but that alone wouldn't get me to leave where I live. I grew up in Southern California, so I grew up with just the chaos and the massive amounts of people and the traffic and all that stuff. And I just thoroughly enjoy living out in the country and having some solitude. So if it's up to me, I'd probably, you know, live and die in the same house the rest of my life and be content. But it's not always entirely up to me. My wife absolutely loves the beach. So I imagine someday, somehow, I'm going to have to find a way to get her there. Sold a pretty nice Ricky Van Shelton hat. And this one, Ricky Van Shelton's not from too far away from here, by the way. Matter of fact, I've driven by where he was from. And this hat, believe it or not, sold for $15.15. It's a Yupung hat, made in Korea, plus shipping. This question was from Katie. She says, what's the latest on eBay and the 1099? You know, how long is it being put off? What's the amount? So this year it is 20,000. Well, the previous year it is back up to 20,000. and they did not go with that low number of 600. There's all kinds of scuttlebutt about the upcoming year, but the best information I have is it may be around 5,000. It could stay at 20,000. It could go to 600, but I highly, highly doubt it. Back to the hat bins. So this pretty cool, like, I don't know what you want to call them. They're like, I don't know, Elmer Fudd hats. I don't know what you want to call them, but pilot hat, flap hats, leather hunting, duck hunting hats. I don't know, but this one was in excellent condition. This one sold to a viewer, and it sold for $20, $21 plus shipping. And I went to Aaron, and he says, love watching your channel and all that you do for the reseller community and your community around you, but I am sorry to be giving you another fake sale. As a reselling substitute teacher, I have two questions. Number one, what is your... See, I didn't even realize this is part of question and answer. This just happened, so I guess we'll answer this one. What is your favorite time period to teach / learn about? Number two, what would you be your dream item to pick and resell? Thank you and God bless. That's two questions. You only allowed one. I'm kidding, Aaron. My favorite time period is probably most people's least favorite time period. And I'm almost embarrassed to say it because most people will be like, what? I'm not an American history teacher. I was a world history teacher and I loved it. I love teaching ancient empires, and I don't mean the typical ones. I don't mean, Rome, although I love that too, and Greece and all that stuff, and the Hellenistic era, although I like that a lot. I like anything that most people don't want to study, whether that's the Assyrian Empire and the Babylonian Empire and even the Persian Empire to some degree, although that's not my favorite. I love all of the Indian empires. I love the beginnings of Hinduism and the transfer of Buddhism from India to Asia. Those are probably my favorites. And I know it doesn't interest most people, but that's what I love the best. I got a question from Daisy Blooms. She said, how could you possibly be making money on calculated shipping? It seems that if you put in the weight and dimension, it spits out the price that it actually costs. Seems far more beneficial than flat rate shipping where you're guessing. She didn't say it quite like that, I paraphrased, but you get the point. So I'm gonna make an assumption maybe you're not a reseller. If you are and you use calculated shipping, you'll know that they overcalculate the price. Unless, and some people do this by the way, they go to the post office and they ship their items from the post office using retail prices. And that to me, there are still people out there who do that. You're not getting that eBay discount. So the calculated shipping is actually, it's always more than the actual cost they pay unless you're doing media mail shipping. So calculated shipping is far overpriced, which means you're gonna make money on the shipping portion of it, but it will cost you sales, especially if items are going a long way away. I've seen items that they've charged the buyer $65 for that only cost me 20 bucks to ship. So the calculation is wrong is the short answer. I'll add this to my answer. There are ways you can give that shipping discount back to your buyer and then it makes it much more feasible. But for me, flat rate's better because it opens my market up to more buyers. As far as my dream item to pick, there are a lot on this list. It's really long, but I probably would say right now anyways, top of my head, I'm always looking for a first edition Ghostbusters and, sealed. And a first edition wraparound Goonies sealed. That's a hard one to find. And I may never find it. But I found a Yeti. And this one isn't a huge big winner, but used $15.15 plus shipping. This question is from Janet Walker. She says, how do you bring people to your eBay store without making YouTube videos? So I'm going to answer this question in two different ways. And actually, I'm going to answer it in one way and then let you guys answer it in the other way down below, because I think there's a lot of information out there about how you might be able to, on the margins, do this. But the first thing is, you mentioned YouTube. So it doesn't have to be YouTube. You can use other social media platforms to do it. But if your focus on that social media platform is your eBay store, it is almost certainly not going to work. However, there are ways to do it. I've talked about them before. Sarah over there at the Daily Cabbage is an excellent example. She created an Instagram all about Cabbage Patch Kid dolls. And so that's her content, and that brings in people that aren't resellers, and they follow her on there, and she's done an amazing job of niching down into something, presenting it as social media in order to drive sales. And that's exactly what she's done, and she's been successful. So if you are knowledgeable and niche down about something because you've been reselling it forever, and it's an interesting thing that might bring people in, use that as your total social media, you know, whatever it is, a strategy to grow a following, don't use your eBay store. But at the same time, if it works, you're going to be able to drive traffic. Same idea with the picker channels that we have. Because in reality, most people who do what I do, a lot of the viewer sales that do come from people who aren't resellers. They're watching the content. I've talked about Facebook before. I'm going to talk about this in a minute in a different question. But, you know, Facebook people that are watching my videos, YouTube people who are watching picker videos are predominantly not resellers. They just want entertainment, just like somebody would watch American Pickers, and they see something they haven't seen in forever and they want it, and then they click on that link and they'll buy. So there's one way. Now, here's my answer that most people won't like, but you really don't need to. I think there's undue emphasis put on it. eBay's a massive platform with massive amount of buyers already. I think you're well better served, much better served, if you just simply find items with good sell-through rates, in other words, items that people want, and find those items, take good pictures, write good titles, put decent prices on them. You'll get far more traffic just because of that reason alone, without spending hours and hours. I never tell people, go start a YouTube channel if you want to sell things on eBay, because the reality is, I've you know, for every 100 people who start a YouTube reselling channel, you know, a couple of them are going to get traction. And I don't have the answers why some do and some don't, because I'm not a YouTube, you know, guru or anything like that. It just happened to work for me and my family, which I'm incredibly grateful for. But if it wouldn't have worked, I would have wasted just thousands of hours over the years trying to make it work, and it would have actually hurt my reselling business. So anybody else out there have any information, you know, simple stuff you hear about all the time, trying to get repeat buyers and QR codes and putting stuff in your boxes and stuff like that. But if anybody has any information out there that might be helpful, that you think you've had some level of success with, put that in the comments below. I've kind of got away from selling Starbucks mugs, but I couldn't resist picking these up because they were $1 a piece, and I got like 9 of them. And this one is a Colorado mug, and that one sold for $11 plus shipping. Question from James. He said, I was told a while back that if you list items priority mail, you're going to get a boost in the search, and it's going to help you be more top rated, I think were the words he used. And so I was just curious if I thought that was the case. So I'm going to say yes and no, and here's why. There's different ways to search items, and I don't know everything that goes into the algorithm, but I do know about the different filters to search. So if you're going to list something priority mail and somebody wants to click on the, you know, fastest shipping, it'll get here the quickest, then yeah, you're going to beat out all those people that have listed things ground advantage, for instance. However, there's probably far more people who search lowest price, you know, item plus shipping, lowest price. And if that's the case and they're selling priority mail, then you might be able to put a more competitive price on it, which is going to boost you in those searches as well. There's also the algorithm part, where if you're doing 1-day shipping versus 2-day shipping, if you're able to do 1-day shipping, then definitely do it. It's just a bit of an inconvenience for some folks, especially folks out there who work 40-hour-a-week jobs. So I think yes is my short answer. It may give you a benefit on that shipping side, but you're only if you're not elevating your prices in order to cover that difference. So in that case, it's one way of promoting your item without paying the promotion fee. It's because you're going to get it to them quicker. But in my opinion, the long run, you're going to be better off offering the best price you can possibly do, which means you're going to be better off making sure your shipping is the lowest it can possibly be. So hopefully that's helpful. Julie bought 2 money damn it dolls right here. When your income is spent and it's time to pay the rent, give this doll a good shake to soothe your heartache. If money could talk, I'd say goodbye. So keep slamming something and watch. I don't know what it says. What else does it say? Keep slamming away and watch the stuffing fly. I love it. Thank you so much, Julie. We appreciate it. $25. Wait a minute. $31.90 plus shipping. This one came from Facebook, and Jonathan, I think, was the name, if I recall. And he had a couple questions. He said, "Hey, can I be a friend on Facebook?" And I usually don't do that over on Facebook. There's just so many folks. There's like 430,000 people, and the vast majority of them are not resellers, and I can't keep up with that, but I might search you up and do just that. Thank you for the question. The other question is, can you approve me to sell on Dibdit? And then they said that they agree with me more than Carrie and Dave, which is the real reason I'm actually reading this. Approving sellers on Dibdit, it's been a slow process, to be honest with you, and we're trying to keep that number at less than 20% of the total members, because our goal is to bring people from our social media audiences on different platforms that appeal to buyers over as members, and then as that grows, a buyer base, we're going to grow the number of sellers, and keeping it about 20% is what we're doing. Like I said before, Facebook, for instance, TikTok for Carrie, and other things are going to bring buyers, and we don't want all these sellers over there selling to a small group of buyers. So as we grow the buyers, we're going to also increase the sellers, which is what we're doing. We're adding people every day, and our goal is to continue to bring those social media audiences over to sellers like you, and my guess is it'll eventually happen very, very soon, as we're approving a few more people every single day. Trying to even out these sales right here, so I'm going to throw a few in to match the questions. So we're going to do 3 at the same time. This one went to the same buyer, Rob. I don't know if you're a viewer or not, but you bought 2 things, so maybe you are. Appreciate you. This is a Tom Brady jersey right here. It does have a little fraying, but it does have the tag as well, and a Larry Johnson jersey. These sold for around $135 total. This one was the big dollar one, plus shipping. $22.95 for this old Marlboro backpack, the ones you used to get with the little points. Those are actually good sellers. I usually pick them up if they're cheap enough. Also sold this Garfield right here. I think it's a 10, maybe 10th anniversary when this one was, so it makes it vintage, of course. The year of the party, or maybe that's 2010. I don't know. I don't know what that is. But it has a vintage tag on it, so I think it's an older one. At any rate, this one, no, it says 10th anniversary. That's what it is. This one sold for $20 plus shipping. And it sold to Elizabeth. She says, really enjoy and appreciate all you share with us. Spotted the Garfield and had to pop on it. God bless you and your family. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I love picking up Garfield stuff. There's always an audience out there for it. I get this question all the time, and to be honest with you, it usually comes in the form of an accusation, and it kind of ticks me off. But today, I'm going to answer that question at least a little bit. The question is from Jeff Covey. He says, you often get called out for your eBay viewer sales, which most of the time appear to be around 20% of your total sales. I think a better question is, what percentage of your total income is from YouTube? I'm going to guess it's over 50%, but I could be wrong. So Jeff asked this question, and there's a couple, and Jeff, I think you asked this. You asked it very nicely. You weren't rude or anything like that, so I'm not trying to project that on you here. But I will say this. When you say it's the better question, I'm curious why you say it, because there's a lot of folks out there that constantly, this is the accusation that comes to me all the time, that I'm not a real reseller because I make more money on social media than I do reselling. And that kind of ticks me off, and it's not just because of me, but you know, I made more money as a teacher than I did reselling for a number of years before that number eclipsed how much I made as a teacher. And this is long before social media, and eventually it did. And that didn't disqualify me from being a real reseller. I met a dentist down there in Florida at the Trash to Cash Winter Bash. I have a sneaking suspicion that he makes far more as a dentist than he does as a reseller. That does not make him not a reseller. And so that's my point. But I'm not saying that that was your intent, but I'm just kind of clarifying that right there. So I'm not going to go through the numbers. This is not a video where I'm going to show on the screen all my numbers. I guess I'm old school like that. Most of the time, I just ignore that question 100% completely. I don't even get into the details. But I said on the video a few times ago, I try to answer most of the questions. So you may know I'm not really a numbers guy. I hardly ever dig into my own analytics and do that. I hate it. But what I did do is go down and make a list and look up a few things to figure out if I could give you somewhat of an answer. I'm not going to go in and pull numbers and try to find screenshots and break down my accounting and get my bookkeeping. I'm not going to do that. But I'm going to say this, and some of this might come as a surprise to some of y'all. Some of it may not. But You know, do I make more on YouTube versus reselling, that kind of question? And it's kind of hard to answer that because I'm on so many different platforms, and I assume maybe the question is social media versus reselling. If the question was social media, which encompassed all the channels on YouTube that I have, encompassed the podcast, which is also on podcasting platforms, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. If you put that all together, the answer is absolutely yes. I make more over there than I do reselling. If you break it down by platform and or channel, it's a bit of a different story. So let me just start with the reselling piece of it. And it's not by much, but this year it's my #2 reselling net year ever. Pretty happy about it. It came very close. If I wouldn't have shut the store down the last few times, I would have got there in December. I would have got there. It would have been my best net reselling year of all time. Would have shattered my old teaching salary, really almost double it at this point. So as far as the social media goes, Commonwealth Picker, that channel makes the most money. So that channel comes close to making what I make as a full-time. I'm not a full-time reseller. I try to make this argument all the time. I actually spend more time working on social media than I do reselling, about 15 to 20 hours a week on reselling and double that on social media. So I made a list of this in order for those people out there who are curious, they can have the answers. And for those people out there who want to belittle me or ridicule me or do whatever they want to do, now you have some more ammunition to do it. Anyway, here we go. Here's my list. So yes, reselling's at the top if you break the social media down into where I'm getting paid from different places. So #2 would be Commonwealth Picker. The Commonwealth Picker YouTube channel is #2. It would be #1 if you also included the ads that go on to that channel. It would be #1 if there were no expenses for that channel as well, but that's the only channel that I use the help of an editor. Well, I shouldn't say that. I use it a little bit on Facebook as well. So that channel right there is my second biggest amount of income. Facebook, believe it or not, comes in #3. The revenue that comes in from the Facebook page, which is significantly larger than either of my YouTube channels, 431,000. And then this channel right here, the Flipper channel, is next. And that is significantly less than my reselling income, quite a bit less. But this channel makes, this is my love, I gotta be honest with you. I just love this channel. I love making what sold videos because I love selling stuff. I get excited still every time the cha-ching comes. And so this channel, I also put the most amount of time into this channel because I edit all the videos, film all the videos, etc. Affiliate links, which I've talked about extensively, and there's a lot of you out there who can access this kind of thing if you're interested in social media and grow it. Affiliate links are next on the list, and you hear me talk about, you know, my go-to tape, Code Commonwealth, or I'm doing, what do? I have a Rolo link. I don't have a code, but there's a link down there. I've done EPN links, eBay Partner Network, which I encourage all resellers to do in some form or fashion, even if you only have your own social media and friends. I have Amazon links. I have an Amazon influencer link account. That doesn't make too much money, but it does. Some folks go through those links and click on those and buy their groceries, which is incredibly nice to me. We've got all kinds. We talked about the Get Upside link that I put, and I put it on different things, especially the short form and over on Instagram. And so I use the links in different places. List Perfectly is another one, and I know I'm missing. Oh, My Reseller Genie is another one, of course, and all the Code Commonwealth stuff. And so those links generate a significant amount of income. They're lower on the list, of course, but it's why I do them, and I enjoy them, and I enjoy partnering with people that I use their products, and I really enjoy the people themselves. And then ads, sponsored ads, and this mostly has to do with the Commonwealth Picker channel. I think we've done 2 over here. We've done a Rolo one, and there was one other one I did, and I can't remember what it was, but we did one over here at one point as well, but that's mostly to do with the Commonwealth Picker channel. You'll see we usually do 1 or 2 a month because I don't want to overload those over there. So you're watching ads already, and then you got to watch another minute-long ad with me talking in it. But we do 1 or 2 a month out of the 8 or 9 videos we put over there, and we'll probably continue to do it at that level. I turned down tons of offers for that channel just because of that reason. Next on the list, believe it or not, is... some people won't believe this, but merch. We sell a ton of merch, and I've got to give my daughter props. You know, the whole don't forget your sticker at commonwealthpicker.com. You know, we were just on the road, have a QR code, and people are clicking through that, and there's purchases, and the girls do an amazing job. Now, I don't see a ton of that net profit because that's the arm of our business that we do a lot of the charitable giving from, and I pay my daughter as well, and Bub's girlfriend comes in there and helps ship stuff, and I pay her when she does that from time to time. Matter of fact, she just showed up today, which is cool because we got to ship some stuff out of there. My wife helps with that. Of course, she doesn't get paid, but you get the point. So I don't see a whole ton of net income, but it is really cool and really fun that people want that stuff. And we have a good time with it as a family, and we give with it as well. The next one is the Trash to Cash podcast, and that is not just on YouTube, and I split the money, of course. Dave does the bulk of the work over there. They just tease me and make money off me over there. So but he does a ton of work. The Trash to Cash podcast is next on the list, and that's both the platforms, the podcasting platforms. There's a little money that comes in from that, and YouTube as well, plus I sell their merch. Next on the list is TikTok. I could make a significant amount more money over there. I just don't put a lot of time into it. I don't particularly love making shorts, and I'm not really good at it like Carrie is, but I do it occasionally from time to time. And every once in a while something hits and we'll get a nice little check at the end of the month. But it's not a ton of money. And then Garage Sale Nation is the same way. We make, I'm happy if I make $50 a month on that channel. A lot of short form content, which does not pay very well at all. But we put other stuff over there as well. And we have some evergreen, some instructional videos, an occasional garage sale video we put over there. And last but not least, unless I'm missing something, is Instagram. And we make virtually nothing on Instagram. I think the last time I checked this month is like $2.71. So reselling is still number one if you compare all of our other side incomes. However, if you want to lump all of social media and the side incomes that come from social media together, then the answer is absolutely yes. We make more on all that than we do reselling. However, if all of the social media went away today, we still live within our means the best we possibly can. I'm not going back to a traditional job because I could steal those 40 hours from social media and pour them into reselling. And I think, I don't want to make people mad, but I think if I did that 60 hours a week, I don't think we'd have any trouble netting. I don't want to get into numbers. Let's just say 3 to 4 times what my teacher salary used to be. I think we could do it fairly easily. So that's a lot of ammunition for the people that hate me out there, but I've been asked it so many times, I said I would answer it at least in some way without getting into those numbers. That's just, maybe it's my generation. I just don't like to do that, but it should give you a good enough idea out there. So we appreciate the question from you, and I hope that's a good enough answer for some of y'all. Hats truly can be hard to sell, and you'd be surprised at how many hats I've bought in order to get that many eBay hats. I usually buy 3 or 4 hats for every hat that goes on eBay, and we sell a bunch off in bulk, but it helps you get better deals on the hats you do want, because some do sell, like this one, $24.95 plus shipping. All right, y'all, I'm on the last leg home. Cannot wait to see my kids and my family and even my dogs. So thanks for joining us, but I wanted to give a special thank you to a few people down in Florida, and a big thank you to all the folks who came and I was able to meet at the Webster Flea Market out there and about. We met so many people that day. It was awesome. Had tons of pictures and all that stuff, but wanted to thank Tina, Dave's wife, and Dave, of course, for being gracious hosts to me while I was there at their house. And a big thank you to Rod Picking and Punching, and especially Mike Death Pile Picker, who allowed me to pull off these whatnot auctions on the road, which was really fun. And I could not have done it without both of you, so I appreciate you very much. And I can't wait to see you next time.